Hey guys, it's Dave, the Geek. We had a really interesting interview lined up for this week, but they had an unexpected emergency and a vital part of our team just really wasn't feeling well. So in the spirit of the Olympics, we're going to replay one of our most popular episodes, our interview with Robert Cheeke. He's a successful vegan bodybuilder, author, and entrepreneur. We had some great feedback about this episode, so we know new and seasoned listeners will enjoy this. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
You're listening to Curiously Veg Radio, WCVR, featuring the Vegan Renegade and the Geek.
Speaking of gym day,
right? I haven't found my why today.
Hey everybody! Hey everybody! Welcome to episode. I believe what are we on 12 or 13?
God, I don't even know. I think 13.
So episode 13 of Curiously Veg Radio. With you as always is Dave the Geek, and of course the beautiful and fantastic.
You're really waiting around in that. Leave Matt's over there to shake his head. Hope the Vegan Renegade. No more puerty for you.
I got excited. It's good interview today.
It had no caffeine in it. It had already been steeped, so it stands caffeine.
I can still be excited. So, what if for those who are new to our YouTube world and our podcasting world, how would you describe Curiously Veg Radio?
You know what? Guess what? I don't have pulled up.
Have your notes pulled up?
I have them.
So let's ad lib this one. How would you if we were in an elevator and it was
I would try to get out really fast.
I would advise you to. But how would what's elevator pitch? How would you describe what we're doing here to someone who is?
That's very simple.
Well, then let's go. Let's do it.
You're just full of it tonight, guys.
I am.
You put him. I tell you what, guys. You put him on video, and it's like usually
animated. It's a talkie, so it'd be animated.
I'm just glad that you're not doing the Looney Tune frog.
That's true.
Because before we did this, and then I'll tell you what Curiously Veg is about. Before we did this,
it's a loop back.
This started with Matt needed to have us model for he was painting the Atlanta opera posters.
MatthewsArt.com, by the way, if you want to check out his work.
Ding, ding, ding. So we had the outfits from the opera, so we had to kind of pose for him. So Matt needed some kind of candid shots for the Barber of Seville. So Matt tried everything. He put on the Looney Tunes song from it, and Dave's on cue. He's jumping around, doing all kinds of funny things. The minute Matt gets the camera, it's like the frog lays down and goes, so it's nothing. He's the talking frog.
Yeah, so the concern was I was a Looney Tunes frog on every episode. So far, I've done okay.
Frog it. You're going to Looney frog it.
There's been a couple of times where I didn't know quite how to get started or
know when to stop.
Or when to stop. Usually that's my problem. I just never know when to stop.
Story of your life. Right. So Curiously Veg is a movement that is meant to create a bridge between vegans, vegetarians, and maybe people who are not vegan or vegetarians that maybe still eat meat but want to learn more about creating a healthy diet or be more compassionate or taking care of the environment. So we strive to be entertaining and informative. What do we say with that? We educate. What is it came up with? I told you to write it down.
Yes, and I did. And I didn't.
No. We educate. We don't intimidate.
That's right. And I always like to say that we try to lead by example and positivity, which I like yours much better. Yours rhymes.
And I can get a little bit of an attitude. I can
get a little finger wave.
Toss the hair to the
finger wave,
side.
a head shake.
Yeah.
So if you're new or if you've been listening to us for a bit, so we've been doing this for quite a bit now. If you'd like to subscribe, if you're watching YouTube, upper right hand corner, there's a subscribe link. So there's a subscribe link. If you click that link, or if you go to curiouslyvegradio.com/subscribe, also in the show notes, it'll take you to a page. So if you're on Android button, iOS button, or even if you have an app already installed, it'll take you so you can subscribe. And if you're digging the interviews we've done, we have a fantastic one day, which we'll get to in a second. We've also talked to Dr. Garth Davis. We talked to Gene Bauer on our last episode. We'll try to put a link somewhere in here or in the show notes so you can check our first video out. So maybe where Hope's hands are.
Or if a cat jumps on the table, we'll make it move with the cat.
Something like that.
There's about
but,
3 of them down here.
You put a lot of work on me on that one. But if you like what you hear, if you go to CuriouslyVegRadio.com/support, and right about now I should be putting an annotation below the subscribe link. And there it gives you options on how to help the show out, whether it's just buy us a cup of coffee or subscribe to Audible or Thrive Market, anything like any of our affiliates, or buy an awesome shirt. Right now we have shirts and mugs up with artwork done by
our sound guy, Matt Hughes.
So
Amazing artist, Matt Hughes.
Again, MattHughesArt.com.
Who's actually thinking I should be drawing right now. Is that right? Are you just secretly painting in your head?
I think you're secretly eating in your head. That's what you're doing at this point. So if you would, CuriouslyVegRadio.com/support, link above me somewhere, and show notes, and also in the video description. Now that those parts are out of the way,
the bits and pieces, we get to the meat.
The meat of it. Well, we get to the Satan of it. I think we get to
the tofu block.
Exactly, of it all.
And you guys are going to see me playing with my cord because I have to do something. You want to introduce who we interviewed?
So on the show we have the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Cheeke.
So who is this Robert Cheeke? As if I don't know.
As if you don't know, which I'm highly surprised.
You will now.
You will now.
You're going to know his name is going to be a household name. Let me tell you.
Robert, he grew up on a farm actually in Corvallis, Oregon. He adopted. Yeah, thank you. He adopted the vegan lifestyle in 1995 at the age of 15. And now he's a best-selling author with the book Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness, The Complete Guide to Bodybuilding Your Body with a Plant-Based Diet. And he also has a book now, Shred It, which we'll talk about in the interview. And we'll have a link to where you can get the book and show notes. We'll put it in the description for the video. Go get the book. It's fantastic. As Robert talks about, it goes deep into regardless of where you are, it should speak to you. But he's also a 2-time natural bodybuilding champion. He's also considered one of the most influential vegans by
Veg News, right?
Veg News. Yeah, Veg News magazine. He's a full-time vegan bodybuilder, and he runs veganbodybuilding.com and fitness. He writes books, touring, maintaining a website. Very, very busy guy, as he'll talk about.
In fact, he's fixing to head off to another talk after the day after we finish this. So.
Yeah, he just got done with a cruise he was doing talks on, and now he got back on the 5th and to the 7th. So yeah, he's heading out on the.
It's like the cruise with all of my heroes, and I'm such a germaphobe. I could not do a cruise. He's claustrophobic. I'm a germaphobe, so it would not work out for maybe one day. Maybe one day and a lot of Prozac.
It looks interesting. Then
it looks awesome.
It looks very, very cool.
And the food.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those rare times like you go into like a vegan restaurant. You're like, so I can eat anything in here. This is fantastic.
So without further ado, and without any more catastrophes, we'll have in our interview.
All right. I guess
here is our interview with the amazing Robert Cheeke.
Yep. Enjoy it. All right, Robert, thank you very much for coming on and spending time with us on Curiously Veg Radio. And I know you just got back from a cruise, so I know hopefully you're somewhat rested.
Yeah, thanks, David. Appreciate it, and thanks for having me. I am rested, a little bit under the weather from changing climate and lots of germs on board with thousands of other people. But hopefully my voice will hang in there today, and I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, thank you for coming. You sound great.
Okay. So you sound fine on our end, so hopefully hopefully you sound okay on your end as well.
Maybe it's just something that I'm used to my normal voice, and I know that I'm a little bit off. That's maybe nobody else will tell.
You should listen to our show. You'll see that I am as well. So
yeah,
I'm a little quirky.
I'm usually raspy if we do a lot of talks. That by the end of the night, I'm just like I'm not talking anymore. I'm done. Go home, get some tea. Pretty good. So that's what I'm kind of nursing on now.
Oh yeah, I got some poo air going right now.
So
yeah, I came straight back from the cruise and went straight to the sauna, steam room, back in my old stomping ground, back in 24-hour fitness, back where I'm used to going hitting the weights, and then just trying to sweat it out and clear sinuses and get right back on track. And I had a great workout yesterday, actually.
Awesome.
Had one of my best workouts in a while, so slightly less than 100% after a long week in the Caribbean, giving lots of presentations and fitness classes and workshops and lectures and signing books and all that stuff that's part of the vegan cruise. And then right back at it for back and shoulder workout, push-ups, crunches every day. So yeah, staying on top of it.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I saw a Facebook post that, but I guess before you got on there, you went to a 24-hour fitness and saw a guy that's just huge, and he asked you about your vegan shirt. Come to find out, he's vegan. It was a small gym, and how many people did you meet? Like 3 people that were vegan?
Yeah. It was funny. I was at this. I was in Coconut Grove, Florida. I've never been there before. I just looked on GPS, found a 24-hour fitness that I belong to. It's a chain. I've been to 100 locations or so around the country. And I go to this gym. I see this. It's a relatively small 24-hour fitness, one of those like neighborhood ones. There's, I don't know, a couple dozen people in the gym rather than 100 or 200 at a time at my current gym here in Denver. But out there in Coconut Grove, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like 200 pounds solid. I've got my tank top on that says, something like "This body is," and on the back says "Vegan owned and operated."
Oh, that's awesome.
So I have this vegan tank top, and I'm all veined out, I'm all pumped up, but I see this big guy, and I'm checking out his arms. I'm admiring this guy doing curls. He's got big arms, and yeah, he asked. We were next to each other on neighboring machines, and he just says, "Hey, can I ask you about your shirt? So are you vegan?" And I'm with confidence, I'm like, yeah, for 20, for over 20 years, thinking he's like a non-vegan guy who's going to have this confrontation with me and have this discussion and all that. And he just smiled and said, 27 years for me.
That's awesome.
His name's Jean-Pierre. He's 53 years old and just looked phenomenal. So we chatted for a while. We talked about different foods that we like and the vegan community. And I went out and got him a signed copy of this magazine that I'm on the cover of with my girlfriend this month. So yeah, that was a fun, random chance thing. And then of course, as I was leaving, somebody recognized me as well, just as for being a vegan bodybuilder, I guess, and said, "Hey, you're going to be heading to the raw fruit festival in Thailand this summer," which I might be going to actually. So that was kind of fun. Then of course my girlfriend, who's vegan, was there too. So in this little community, Coconut Grove, at noon, 24-hour fitness, there were 4 of us at least who were vegan. And later I went back to that gym the next day and had another vegan shirt on, and somebody complimented me on that shirt as well. Just some random person. It was something like, "No animal is called an it," or something like that. I forget exactly what the tank top is, but anyway, so yeah, we certainly feeling the love out there in Florida.
Yeah, I know at our gym I have one vegan shirt I wear to the gym that has I'm a big metal rock guy, and I have it says metal made vegan on the front, and the back it says "Death in my metal, not my meals."
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I got that shirt too.
Oh, do you really? Oh, I love that one. I wear that one. I kind of look around like, yeah, that's right.
See, I'm needing that shirt.
That's fantastic.
I am
yeah.
sans.
Yeah, that's from Drew Brozovich.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love. Yeah, Drew's an awesome guy. He and I talk every now and then, but his stuff is really, really cool.
Yeah, I saw him in Portland, Oregon at the Portland Bench Fest recently.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's a really, really nice guy. He's doing a lot of really cool stuff right now too.
Yep.
When you said you're kind of expecting the guy to kind of when you asked about your shirt, you were kind of ready to, I guess, defend. Do you have that often when you go into the gym?
Not a whole lot, but people are just curious. They see a guy who's pretty good shape. I'm about 200 pounds right now. I was at the gym yesterday. Like I said, I was 201 with clothes on, so I'm in the high 190s. Pretty strong, lifting pretty heavy weights, and so people are just curious. They see somebody pressing 300 pounds on or 315 on decline bench press, or leg pressing 1,000 pounds or something like that. Or, I press 120-pound dumbbells in each hand overhead for chest press. It's quite a bit of weight for my size. And so people are, they're just kind of surprised when they see something like this. They see vegan written big across my shirt, my hoodie. I always wear vegan themed clothes, whether it's my own that I make like this one, or those 2 other random vegan tank tops I was wearing in Florida, or my Forks Over Knives hoodie, or my Bone Breaker barbell shirt, or whatever it is. People are curious. They do ask questions, and so I'm ready to just let people know that, yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years. I started as 120 pounds, peaked at 204, and I clearly get enough protein. These types of things. I'm just ready to answer those questions. I let them know I'm a multiple time champion bodybuilder, did that all vegan, of course, and I'm just there to answer questions. So I was just, in that certain situation, I was just expecting, I don't know why, I guess I was just expecting the person to be curious about the vegan lifestyle, and turns out he's been vegan longer than me.
So you
almost 30 years.
You went vegan at 15, right?
Yeah, 15 years old.
How has the dynamics changed with you in the gym? Because you said you were at 120.
Yeah, I was a high school kid, skinny, long distance runner, high school kid. Became vegan as I got into animal rights as a sophomore in high school. This is before the internet, mind you. So I didn't have resources like the internet, but internet came around, at least in my school, we learned how to use it in 96 or 97. Mm-hmm. But in 95, I became vegan. My older sister was a positive influence on me for that, and kind of paved the way as she became vegan before I did, and she organized an animal rights week at our high school and really introduced me to the lifestyle and what it meant, and showed me videos of factory farming and animal testing, and brought in speakers to talk about the vegan lifestyle and about animal rights and ethics, very much like I do today, where I go speak at colleges and schools and festivals. She organized speakers to come 20 years ago to my school, which had that positive influence on me that led me down this path that I'm now 21 years into.
What was the aha moment for you that kind of made you make that switch from non-vegan to vegan?
Well, I think a couple things. But for one, I grew up on a farm, and so I had animal friends that had first names. I was in 4-H program. I raised animals and showed them at the county fair, at the state fair. And at the end of that summer, I had to take them to the auction and sell them and part ways with my buddy. It's like giving away your dog, giving away your cat. And then when I realized that they weren't just going to another home, they were going to be used for food, that was a kind of a wake-up call. And I also remember these videos my sister showed us of, I grew up on a small farm. There was a dairy next to us, and we had cows and chickens and rabbits and guinea pigs and goats and animals like that, ponies, horses on our farm. But it is small, 20 acres. But when I saw videos of big factory farming, large scale factory farming, and specifically I remember animal testing videos, rabbits being held down and things put in their eyes and all that, that was really the turning point for me, was just seeing this cruelty on a mass scale that as a kid, I said, that's not something I want to be part of. That's not something I want to support. And even though I came from a farming background, grew up on a farm, all my relatives basically were farmers and were on board with that, I decided to go a different route. And so that's what I did. And that was really my aha moment, I guess, was understanding the large scale picture that is a lot different than a small family farm.
It's kind of like Dr. Campbell. He had that kind of a similar thing growing up on a farm. Do you think being on a farm kind of made this more impactful, that when you really saw what was going on because you had that chance to bond with animals, it was a little different than somebody that has not had a chance to bond with any animals?
Yeah, I think so. And actually, I just talked to Dr. Campbell a few days ago. He was on the vegan cruise as well, and we had a nice 30-minute conversation about our farming backgrounds, and just, I see him every year, and it's fun to catch up with him, and he played a huge role in my transition to a whole food plant-based diet that I'm on these days. So I give a lot of credit to him, and I think so. I think you're right. I think because I'm able to connect with farm animals in a way that a lot of other people can't or haven't been able to, because I've lived with them. I've spent years around them. I do resonate with animal rights and care for animals in a different way, because I watch them grow up. I see them go through ups and downs. I see their different emotions. I see they have families like the rest of us, and they want to keep those families. They want to spend time with their parents or with their siblings, or they want to play. They want to live a life free of fear, pain, and suffering, just like we do. And because I spent so much time around them, I was able to resonate with where they're coming from.
That's what Gene Bauer was saying. That's the big impact with these farm sanctuaries, which is very important. Even when he was telling the story about the fur farmer, you could educate these people, hand them, show them these videos, but until he came there and he actually was interacting with the animals, it kind of clicked with him. And I think most people, I don't think anybody wants to be involved in causing harm or suffering. And it's funny because I was chatting with a friend of mine who happens to be a hunter, and he actually said, he goes, I wonder how many people would still eat meat if they had to hunt and prepare it. He goes, I guarantee you there'd be a lot more vegans in the world if they had to do that, if they actually saw and had to have a hand in it compared to when you see the animals and you interact with them.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it goes beyond just animals. How many people are not sympathetic or empathetic to people suffering in third world countries?
Exactly.
Once you go to a third world country and you see people suffering firsthand, you see people who are on the streets, you see lots of poverty, you see people who are lacking food or clean water or these types of things, it has a different impact on you than just out of sight, out of mind. And I think growing up on a farm put me in a position to be really empathetic and sympathetic to animals and their own inherent desires to be free and enjoy their lives. And so I really try to encourage people to go visit farm animal sanctuaries, go see what farm animals are like, and spend time with them and get to know them. And that's one of the things I really like doing. I've been to all the farm sanctuary locations as far as the Gene Bauer's farm sanctuary, New York and California, and multiple locations in California. I've been to many other animal sanctuaries as well, including multiple animal sanctuaries in Australia, in Salt Lake City, and in Oregon, and numerous other places. And every time I go spend time with rescued farm animals, I get re-inspired, rejuvenated, motivated, fired up to go make a difference. Because I have the opportunity to see them in their second chance of life. So it just takes me back to my farming roots, I guess. It makes me want to work harder to make a positive difference.
I think that's the good thing we're seeing is with vegan bodybuilding and with the emergence of more athletes and more celebrities coming out, is veganism used to be not the norm, used to be kind of the outsider. Now it's becoming seen as more normalized. We're learning more about it. Like MMA, we just had Diaz beat Conor McGregor, and he's actually been a raw plant-based diet for a little while.
He's been vegan since 18, and he's been raw for the past 3 years or so. Mostly raw. He where he can, but yeah.
So we have somebody that defeated. He was undefeated. Conor McGregor was undefeated.
In the UFC, yeah.
And so we're seeing all of these athletes, and like you said, you're going to the gym, and we're seeing more and more bodybuilders. So I think that's really you're kind of taking the animals when you go to the sanctuary. It kind of shows compassion. Then what you're doing, what these athletes are doing, is you're showing that you can be strong, you can be an athlete, you can recover faster. So it's kind of changing the dynamics a bit. Do you see that happening?
Oh yeah, the growth has been incredible over the years. I mean, I remember when I started before the internet. I mean, I didn't really know any other vegan athletes. A couple kids in high school who adopted the lifestyle with me, unfortunately didn't stick with it. But, I had a few vegan friends when I was in high school. And from not knowing anybody to then getting on the internet, knowing like one or two other vegan bodybuilders, to now having a couple 100,000 followers on our vegan bodybuilding Facebook page and tens of thousands in other social communities online, and just seeing all these vegan bodybuilders and vegan athletes excelling in sports all over the place is fantastic. I mean, Torrey Washington is a 6-time natural bodybuilding champion. He just competed at the Arnold Classic over the weekend, yesterday or Saturday, and he finished, I think, 4th place. It was a top 5 in his competition there. And Jahina Malik, also vegan since birth, she competed at the Arnold Classic. And I've actually met her a number of times. Met her mom when I've been on tour out in Florida, and of course I've hung out with Tori a bunch of times too. These are just a couple of examples of longtime vegan athletes who competed at the very prestigious Arnold Classic competition over the weekend. And of course, you mentioned Diaz. He's been vegan for I think 12 years or so.
About that,
yeah, long time vegan athlete, and as are many MMA athletes. I don't actually even follow MMA, but I hear about the athletes all the time because I'm involved in the vegan athlete scene. So I'm so closely involved in the vegan athlete community. I hear about all these MMA guys that I don't follow the sport, so I don't know how famous they are. I barely even heard of Nate Diaz, and here I see, he's one of the best in the world. And I was actually in Vegas a couple months ago, and Connor was fighting the day that I was there at MGM Grand. People from, I was like, what's going on with all these Irish flags? And people were like, what is going on? I had no idea the MMA, whatever it was, 190 something or whatever it was going on that same day that I was there.
What's really funny about Connor is his whole fight camp. They were talking about how he's been eating steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to bulk up and get muscle. And they actually called Nate like a grazing gazelle waiting to get pounced on by a lion.
The memes have been fantastic.
How's that gone for you?
Yeah.
You were talking about the vegan athletes, especially we talked earlier about your lifting. You have you have Shred It.
Yeah, and
I got a copy here, and we have the vegan bodybuilding and fitness book there.
And they're both actually they're excellent. I noticed that the Shredded is more tailored to everybody.
Yeah.
Compared to the first one, and I think it's got really good information, which I have a lot of people going, I don't want to be a bodybuilder, so what do I do? So I show them your book because you can translate this. What advice do you have, or what kind of spurred you to write Shred It?
Yeah, well, I had my 10-year career in bodybuilding, basically about 2001 until 2009 or 10, and I decided to take a break and write about my experiences. I had won multiple bodybuilding competitions. I'd come in second a bunch of times. I'd been exposed to lots of media outlets, television, newspaper, magazines, and all these different things. I had a lot of stories to tell and a lot of advice to share because I grew from 120 pounds to 195 pounds over the course of a relatively short period and found some success in bodybuilding. So I wrote the book, Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness, 300-something page book. And I went out on tour with that for a while. But, like you said, it's kind of bodybuilding specific, and not everybody wants to bulk up and be this big bodybuilder guy. And so when I took Dr. Campbell's plant-based nutrition certification course through Cornell University, it's I think now called the Center for Nutrition Studies at Cornell, that changed my perspective on a lot of different things. Protein intake, supplementation, calorie intake, whole foods versus processed foods, a variety of different topics. And it was after that course that I decided that I would write a new book about my new ideas, my current philosophies, my current approach. And that's where Shred It came from. And I'm very pleased and fortunate that I got it endorsed by Dr. Campbell, as well as Dr. Esselstyn and Forks Over Knives and many others. And you're right that it is geared toward anybody. I mean, anybody who wants to burn fat, build muscle, increase endurance, be consistent, accountable, transparent, and achieve goals. This is the book that I spent 2 years writing, 30 peer reviews from, top people, Dr. Greger, Dr. Esselstyn, Campbell, Forks Over Knives, all Kathy Freston, Juliana Hever, George Eisman, registered dietitians, real experts, real scientists, real experts. And it also, I've got it right here, it also features dozens of other plant-based athletes. And that's a huge aspect of the book too, where it's not just me and my ideas. It is endorsed by these great doctors and professionals, as well as featuring dozens of other plant-based athletes to show there's a lot of people doing it, including people that are almost twice my size.
And thank you for giving me a mention in that. My husband was laughing at me because I was reading through it, and I looked through the back. I was like, took a double take. I was like, holy crap!
I got a message on Google Chat. She's like, I'm in the book.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
First breathe.
But yeah, I was like you. I took Dr. Campbell's course.
I see it right there, page 327. There you are.
Yeah. Giving me the endorsement, yeah. But yeah, I took Dr. Campbell's. Is like with me, I thought I knew a lot until I took that course, and it really wakes you up. It makes you reconsider. Everybody thinks he knows when you go to the gym, you're downing the shakes, they're like 200 grams of protein, or you're taking handfuls of supplements. And you then, when you learn about the science, which is, you do talk a lot about, how to do that in your book, it really makes you aware of how efficient our bodies are if we get out of the way and we do the right things and give it the right fuel, which plant-based does.
Right, exactly. What I really wanted to communicate was that regardless of what your objectives are, regardless of what your goals are, burning fat, building muscle, improving endurance, excelling as an athlete, you can do that by eating real food. You can achieve those specific goals by understanding the components of real food: vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, nitric oxide, essential fatty acids, things like that, and eat the foods that supply ample quantities of those nutrition components, and you set yourself up for success, while also understanding things like basal metabolic rate, Harris-Benedict equation. How many calories are you really expending every day? How many calories are you really consuming? And what's the nutritional net gain at the end of the day? Are you eating processed foods? Are you eating whole foods? And what's the breakdown there? And what's your nutritional return on investment? And I think when we understand those core ideas, we have the ability to control our weight loss, weight gain, muscle gain, fat loss, improvement in endurance, things like that. We actually take control over it because we understand the science behind it, and our behaviors and habits will dictate specific outcomes, either positive or negative. So we can be really consistent. We can consistently follow bad behavior, and that bad nutritional behavior or lack of exercise, and that will lead to a specific outcome. Or we can follow consistent behavior that's positive habits, daily exercise, plant-based whole foods for the majority of our calories, eating a caloric intake that is in line with our specific goals of fat burning or muscle building or maintenance, and we can see the positive results. So I'm really big on consistency, accountability, and transparency. And this book, I think, does a fantastic job of laying that out for people. So we really do achieve goals, and we can have a positive impact, feel good about ourselves, lift others up, and have this trickle-up effect that inspires other people and saves lots of lives along the way, human and non-human animal lives.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about consistency, and we're talking about calories and diet and things like that. How would you suggest the diet change, if at all, between a off day and an on day when it comes to lifting?
Yeah, well, on your lifting days or your exercise days, maybe you're not a lifter, but you're a runner or whatever. On your exercise days, you burn more calories. Maybe you burn 500 to 1,000 more calories, depending on the type of workout you do and the duration of that workout. So, your caloric intake can be a little bit lower on off days if you're not burning as much. If you're trying to avoid gaining too much,
Right.
Extra body fat or just extra weight, or you want to limit your calorie intake. But if you're really trying to bulk up, and I've been through those phases where I put on 30 pounds in a single year, where my goal is to bulk up and I'll put on muscle and fat at the same time, where I'll just keep the calories high even on the off days anyway. So then I have a surplus that accumulates and compounds throughout the rest of the week. So you're going to have ups and downs. Some days you're going to have a great caloric intake. Another day you're on an airplane all day and your diet suffers a bit, or you're traveling via some other mode of transportation, or you're just, I don't know, you're busy, you're feeling under the weather, your appetite isn't quite as strong. And so if you are trying to, let's say, bulk up and add mass and good quality muscle, then you want to keep your calories high even on your off days, because you just want that to accumulate and compound to lead to a net gain result. And as long as the days that you are in the gym, let's say you have 5 days on, 2 days off, you're working really, really hard, compound multi-joint movements, dumbbells, barbells, free weights, body weight exercises, then you should see those muscle building results. So I think it really depends on your personal objective. I know that's kind of
the general, but yeah, it works.
If you're trying to burn fat, I would keep the calories lower on your off day. If you're trying to bulk up, I would keep them the same, based on what your true caloric expenditure is and what your daily targets are. So if you burn 2,500 calories a day and you're trying to bulk up a little bit and you're eating 2,800 or 3,000 calories a day, I would keep it about the same if you're bulking up. Trying to burn fat, make it a little bit lower, drop it by a few hundred calories on days that you're not exercising.
I was reading about you eat a lot of bananas before you work out. That's one thing I hear is, don't eat fruit because it's got so much sugar and you're going to get fat. Because before I work out, you usually see me with an apple or a banana and I'm out the door. But do you get that a lot? As many as you eat, do you get people just kind of looking at you like, why are you eating all that? Because fruit will make you fat.
No, not really. I use that as fuel. I just tossed out some banana peels that were in my car a second ago that I was eating just running some errands. And I've got a few, I think 3 more bananas in the car because I'm heading to the gym later on.
Mm-hmm.
And I eat bananas during the workout too, because at the moment I'm trying to add mass. I'm not worried about burning fat right now. If I was trying to burn fat, I would not eat during the workout because I would want to burn through my stored glycogen, stored carbohydrate, and then eventually get into a fat burning zone where I'm using fat as fuel. But right now, because I'm trying to just get the most out of my workouts, to have the most energy, to get the best pump, to be at my strongest, then I will eat bananas during the workout. And I just sit there, peel them in the gym, and just eat, toss the peel, and go about my day. And no one really says anything or mentions anything. I just carry them around in my gym bag and use them, or oranges, little tangerines I'm peeling and eating during the workout.
It's always like with us. It's like you can tell the vegans because even when he came in, he comes and goes, "That's a lot of bananas." Because you can always see, because especially if you go to Trader Joe's where they're cheap, we just kind of pile them on, coming out with bags of bananas. Like, you eat a lot of bananas. Like, oh yeah, they're good.
Well, it's almost the perfect exercise food. I mean, they're about 70 to 90 calories depending on the size. They're kind of dense and heavy. As far as fruits go, I mean, they're much heavier than raspberries or watermelon or blueberries or any other oranges or any food like that. So they're a heavy, dense, tasty, nourishing fruit. And so, I mean, I'm going to feel much more full from having 2 or 3 bananas during my workout than a handful of blueberries or raspberries or a few chunks of mango or something like that. So banana seems to be one of the best foods for sustained energy during a workout, and it's something that's light on the stomach, so it's not going to upset my stomach like if I were to have a sandwich or a burrito during the workout.
Well, that's interesting. You said you eat bananas during your workout, and something I've always been told over and over again is you shouldn't eat so close to a workout or during a workout because it pulls blood to the stomach, and you're not going to get as much pump into the muscle from the blood. Is that something is not true, or you don't see a problem with?
I don't see a problem with it. I think if I eat something heavy, that could be problematic. So if you eat like I just mentioned, a sandwich or a burrito or a bowl of rice or potatoes right before a workout, it could upset the stomach. It could be a problem. But I'm not doing a lot of movement during my workouts. I'm mostly just lifting weights.
Sitting in one spot.
And sitting on a bench. I'm pressing and sitting on a bench. I'm not like, I'm not running around bouncing. If I were, and I do those workouts sometimes. Yeah. I do these total body, high intensity cardio conditioning workouts. And that's what I lead on the cruise ship. Lots of jumping jacks and star jumps and high knees and all that. If I eat before that, my stomach goes crazy because food is bouncing around, blood's bouncing around. But if I'm just lifting weights, it's really easy. I just walk around, just doing some rows.
I feel better now then, yeah.
And then I just sit and rest for a minute or two and go back after it again. So no, I have no problem adapting to consuming food during my workouts. I've been doing it for years,
and it's working. So
yeah,
obviously.
Yeah,
there you go.
There it is.
It's hard to fit the whole forearm in.
So just remember, Dave, bananas and not those bars that you ate before I put you through HIIT training where you were over in the corner about to die.
Oh yeah, no, that wasn't good.
I did a Tabata set with him.
I had a little protein bar that didn't settle that well.
Yeah, those are bars are a couple hundred calories per bar. They're nuts are a big part of those calories, and those can be pretty heavy. I mean, if I eat something like Larabar, Vega Snack Bar, whatever, before a high intensity cardio workout, then I'm feeling it in my stomach too. I wish I would have had just a banana, not hundreds of calories of Larabars.
Well, you talked a lot about calories and things like that. So like Torrey Washington doesn't count his macros, how much protein he gets and all that. Do you worry so much about macros, or just making sure you get the calories regardless of where they're coming from? Or
in Shredded I talk about having a 70-15-15 approach. 70% of calories coming from carbohydrates, 15% from proteins and fats. Do I document everything these days? No. I've been doing this for 20 years. I have a pretty good idea of my caloric intake. And so I kind of go on feel, much like Tori does. But because there are millions and millions of people who have no idea what they're consuming, they have no idea how many calories are in, especially the processed foods that are loaded with oil and refined carbohydrates and wheat and breads and things like that, they need to know. They need to document the stuff for at least a couple of weeks to know what they're consuming. I mean, I give these lectures all the time, and I share with audiences that there are people in this room right now who, based on their gender, age, height, weight, and very importantly, activity level, should be eating, let's just make up a number, 2,300 calories a day in order to maintain weight. Yet these people with this objective of what they should be consuming in order to maintain or maybe even lose a little bit are consuming 3,500 calories a day without knowing it. Because they have no idea how many calories are in the pastries and desserts and refined foods. And so they're having this surplus of 1,200 calories a day, which is not just 1,200 calories a day. It's nearly 10,000 calories a week, nearly 400,000 calories over the course of a year of excess. And this is why we slowly and steadily gain fat, gain weight, get out of shape. This happens to millions of people. People who give up on their New Year's resolutions after 2 weeks in January. The most common day globally is January 17th that people give up on the New Year's resolutions because a lot of people don't understand how their behaviors relate to their end goal. And they say, yeah, I'm working hard. I'm a hard worker. I'm working hard. I'm eating pretty healthy. They think eating healthy is a salad covered with 600 calories of fat dressing. They're more fatty than a pizza or burger, but they pat themselves on the back for having a salad. And so that's why I do talk about documenting caloric intake and the macronutrient breakdown, because the average fat consumption in America is somewhere between 33 and 37% of calories. That's huge, and clearly we have a problem with obesity and issues related to that in our country and around the world. And our protein intake is somewhere between 3 and 6 times what it should be, and as far as the average American diet, and our carbohydrate intake is significantly lower than it should be. And that's where, with complex carbohydrates from whole foods, that's where we get the highest percentages of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, water, all these things that are hugely important. And so when we have a high fat or high protein, or at least 2, 3, 6 times the national or the real requirement, we deprive ourselves from the nutrients we would get from complex carbohydrates that we're limiting because we give carbohydrates a bad reputation, associating them with bread and pasta and chips and pastries and things like that, which I don't even consider carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are real foods, things like fruits and vegetables and grains and legumes. So do I keep track of everything these days? No, but I do know that based on my gender, age, height, weight, activity level, so I'm about 6 feet tall, 36 years old as of a few days ago. Happy birthday to me.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy
That's
birthday.
Awesome. Yeah.
Appreciate it, March 2nd. So 6 foot tall, 36 years old, probably about 197 pounds right now. I was 201 yesterday with clothes on, so about 197.
It counts. It still counts. It's good.
And working out 5 days a week in the gym, plus push-ups and crunches, 7 days a week. When you factor all that in, I burn about 3,240 calories a day. So that's significant to know, because that means that I have to eat 3,240 calories-ish to stay around 197. Now, if I get injured and I stop going to the gym and my enthusiasm goes down, my caloric intake goes down because I'm not burning as many calories, so I'm not having to eat as much, I'm not stimulating my appetite as much, I'll naturally just lose weight. I mean, my body will go all the way down to 175 or so, because that's, as a former distance runner, that's where my body likes to go, down to 170 pounds. But if I want to bulk up, I want to continue to add mass. I was 204 pounds a month ago before a really crazy travel schedule over the last 4 weeks. My caloric intake was higher. It was over 4,000 calories, because that's going to put me, that surplus, in a position to add mass. So the reason I say all that is that if somebody does have a specific objective, I mean, obviously somebody like Tori is a champion bodybuilder, knows his body very, very well. Same with Derek Treesize, Giacomo Marchese, Mindy Collette, Danny Taylor, many others. They know their bodies really well. But the average person doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
The average person doesn't know what their caloric intake is. They don't know what their caloric expenditure is. And that's why I think it's important to at least research that and document it for yourself. And the best way to do that is use a basal metabolic rate calculator and a Harris-Benedict calculator. And this will tell you, based on your metrics, how many calories you're expending. Then you decide how much to consume based on what you want to do. Bulk up, lose fat, stay the same.
That's one thing I've seen with a lot of people is they're so scared of calories and they're scared of carbs. So for somebody that they're sometimes are resistant about doing the measurements, they just want you to hand them something. So I recommend them just doing a journal. And when I say you're not eating carbs, you're eating fat. And you're not eating. You're some days you're not even eating enough. I'm looking at maybe 900 calories here in this day, and you're active, and that's working against what you do. And it's almost like they turn their head, but they're so scared to really look at what they need and kind of take it from there because we're bombarded with all of this information of carbs are bad and this is bad and lower your calories.
Sure. Well, I think the root underlying cause that you're probably getting at is that most of us don't want to know what the reality is. We want to be able to find justifications for our poor habits. That I want to eat oil because of this reason. Some studies show that it's good for me. I want to eat these pastries. I like the way they taste. I don't want to know how many calories I'm consuming. I don't want to know because that reality might make me feel bad. That might make me question my own work ethic and my own willpower and my own abilities to adapt and change. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to change. I'm relatively healthy. I really like the taste of chocolate or of whatever the food is. I really like fried food, or I really like dessert every single day. I just do. And I don't want to change that behavior. And I'll deal with the consequences if there are any consequences. And I'm not even convinced there are consequences. I think my excess weight gain is because I hurt my knee and I wasn't able to train as much or whatever. It's that type of mentality that, most of us don't want to know how many calories we're consuming. We'd rather not know. We don't want to know we don't want to admit how inactive we might be because we might feel bad about that. And as long as we can keep on going with the status quo and just keep on keeping on, we're okay with that. And that's okay, but that mentality is not going to get us to excel. We're not going to achieve high levels of success. We might succeed a little bit, but we're not going to achieve high levels of success with that mentality. And I think one of the things you touched on, I write about this in Shred It, I talk about in a lot of my lectures, is that we want a 100% return on a 40% investment, right?
Right. Yeah.
I want to get fit now. I want to get healthy now.
Right.
I want to achieve this. I'm only going to give up one thing, though. I'm only going to change one behavior, yet I want it all. I want all the success of ripped abs, big chest, big muscles, whatever the case is. But I'm only willing to change the small amount, and that's not how it works.
So what do you, just a quick thing, what do you recommend when you see that resistance with people? What are some tips that you can give for those that maybe that's going, yeah, that's me, but I don't want to admit it. So what are some things that people can do to help overcome these roadblocks?
I think we have to ask the question why as many times as possible. Why does fitness matter to you? Who cares? Why do you want to change? Why do you want more energy? Why do you want less body fat? Why do you want to be stronger? Who cares? You have to be able to answer that. You have to be able to answer that for yourself and find your own meaning behind it. And I remind people that think of anything you've ever wanted to change. How do you get smarter? How do you learn a language? How do you learn auto mechanic skills? How do you learn technology and computer skills? You do it by applying yourself. How do you run a marathon? Not training every once in a while. You do it every single day. You want to speak fluent Japanese or German or Spanish or Mandarin? Well, don't practice once a week and tell me that's your best effort. You want to go over to Tokyo and speak fluently, you better practice every day. Well, the human body has to have the same response. You want to lose weight? You want to get bigger and stronger? You want to win races as an endurance athlete? Well, then you've got to put yourself in a position to do so. And so that's what I really communicate with people is that I use those expressions like put yourself in a position to succeed. If you want to go speak fluent Japanese in Tokyo, does it make sense to practice German 5 days a week? No. So if we plan to burn fat, does it make sense to continue to eat heavily processed, refined foods that have lots of oil in them, which is 4,000 calories per pound? Does it make sense to eat that way and expect those results? Absolutely not. If you want to get bigger and stronger, but you're not willing to go to the gym on a regular basis and do resistance training, you just feel like doing jump rope. Is that going to build bigger shoulders, arms, legs? No. One has to put one in a position to be successful in order to become successful.
So find your why.
Find your why and understand that things compound and that consistency is the most important thing in the world because it leads to adaptation, it leads to improvement, it leads to success. And transparency is more important than anything. You know, we say, oh yeah, I had a great workout today. Well, tell me about yesterday's workout.
What happened yesterday?
You know, I'd rather not talk about yesterday. What about the day before? You know, ease up off my back. Come on. You know, we're talking about today.
Guilty.
And I say this stuff all the time in my lectures. I'm like, well, again, go back to the pat on the back. You know, I had a salad today. Well, great. Well, maybe the last salad you had was August. You know, we remember these great things that we do. You know, today I went running today. Well, good. First time in 3 months. That's a good first step. It's a good first step, but let's not give ourselves too much credit as far as, you know, where we're trying to get to. You know, I think, yes, we all have to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yes, we need to take some small steps at first, but those small steps lead to bigger steps and consistency, adaptation, improvement over time. And we just have to be, I think we have to be totally transparent about that accountability if we're going to succeed.
When someone is, whether it's like to your point, whether it's learning Mandarin or German or going to the gym, right? Even when someone who's really hard setting their goals, you have days where, I mean, I know I do. You're like, you kind of just you're not feeling it. You know, you have days where you walk in the gym and you're not feeling your strongest, or you have days you're just feeling kind of tired or weak. And what do you do? What would you suggest someone do to kind of get that motivation and get kind of that fire underneath them to kind of push and go?
He just calls me and says, I don't want to do the gym today, and I just can't go to the gym.
You know, I've had a lot of those days. During my nearly 10-year competitive bodybuilding career, there were countless days I didn't feel like going to the gym. I just didn't want to. I mean, bodybuilding became a chore, something I had to do because that was my reputation. That was my identity. If I wanted to succeed and win bodybuilding competitions, I had to dedicate hours a day. And oftentimes I was following back then a low carbohydrate diet. I just didn't feel like it and I didn't want to go. But I've always been able to picture multiple steps ahead. You know, today just sucks. I don't feel like it at all. I'd rather do anything than go to the gym. I'd rather just check Facebook notifications. I'd rather take a nap. I would rather just go eat a bunch of comfort food. I'd rather do all these different things, but I'm able to connect the dots ahead of time and say, you know, Robert, if you can just stick with it today, get through today, then you can get through tomorrow and you can get through the next day. And eventually you're going to get that goal. I mean, I had dreams of becoming an author, you know, best-selling author. I had dreams of winning bodybuilding competitions. I had dreams of getting on magazine covers and being on TV and all this stuff. Some of these are somewhat materialistic, you know, being out there in the spotlight and all this, but they're things that I wanted from when I was a kid. And I wanted to do it to make a difference. I wanted to stand up and represent some sort of cause. And I was able to do every single one of those things and many more things. And those are hard things to do. It's not easy to write a book, and it's not easy to sell lots of books, and it's not easy to win bodybuilding competitions. Especially, you know, a long time ago when there weren't a lot of people who were vegan doing it, and you had to kind of learn your own way of doing it in the mainstream sport of bodybuilding, just navigate your own way. But I was always able to see that what I do today is going to affect tomorrow. And I'll tell you, there were times when I first started. I mean, can you imagine? You know, I was about 150 pounds by the time I gave up cross-country running in college. And so I was 20 years old, about 150 pounds, but I was 6 feet tall, 150. And when I first started lifting weights, I mean, tiny little weights, tiny little arms, but I knew that I would adapt over time. You know, it was frustrating at first. Easiest thing in the world is to give up. You know, this isn't in the cards for me. It's not my genetics, not my DNA. You know, Robert, you're a really good runner. Just stick with it and maybe make some success out of that. But so my advice for anyone is just you've got to be able to see the big picture. You've got to be able to see a few steps down the road, or even many steps down the road. I like this idea of connecting the dots ahead of time. So yeah, you don't feel like it. You're tired. You just traveled across the country. You're bored. You're feeling sick. You're under the weather. You're whatever. There are definitely times when rest is called upon, such as when you are feeling a little bit sick. Maybe it's a good idea to keep germs at home, not take them to the gym, and just rest up. But for those times when you just mentally, psychologically don't feel like it, like, oh, I just don't feel like it today. I'm kind of tired, or I'd rather do something else. That's when you've got to pick yourself up and say, you know what? The discipline that I can exercise today, the discipline that I can display today is going to help me later on. It may not even help me in fitness, but it's going to help me in work. It's going to help me in my career. It's going to help me in relationships. It's going to help me in some area of life that if I can show myself that I'm strong enough to do this workout today when I don't feel like it, that I'm strong enough to handle difficult situations later on down the road in life in general. That's what I would say.
Okay.
I mean,
Fantastic.
the one thing that I can say is when I first started to get into fitness, I kind of started in high school. My husband actually is the one that introduced me to weights. We had the old Arnold book, dusted off, and I'd always been interested in it. And when I graduated, I didn't want to go into marketing, just didn't want to sell my soul. And I went to get my trainer's license, but I felt like I was the only vegan trainer. Then I found you. So I found my why, but I also found you as a role model and started going, this is doable. This is here. And I grabbed your book. I started following, vegan bodybuilding and stuff. And I know, and like I said, Shred It's excellent for that. And I know Dave wanted to ask, who inspires you?
Yeah, good question. Different people than you'd expect, I think. A lot of people expect to say Arnold and all these bodybuilders, and that's not necessarily the case. I was inspired by my older sister, Tanya, who introduced me to the vegan lifestyle. She was an integral part in my development as a vegan athlete and still continues to serve as a huge inspiration today. She's been vegan for 20-something years and continues to be a great role model. America's greatest running legend, Steve Prefontaine, who passed away before I was even born. He came from a small town in Oregon. He's from my region. I was exposed to his life, through various documentaries and movies when I was a high school runner, and that really spoke to me about drive and passion and work ethic and being the best that you can be. So, some of my high school teachers, Eric Daisy, John Bullock, those are my role models, and I just bumped into one of them when I was back home for the holidays, and then another one I was in touch with via email just recently too. So those have really been a lot of my role models, not necessarily famous bodybuilders, or even other vegan bodybuilders necessarily, because most of my inspiration came from when I was a kid. And there weren't a lot of other vegan athletes, so I never had those vegan athlete role models. Lately, I've had other people become role models, like Derek Treesize, Tori Washington, Giacomo Marchese, people like that. But in the early days, when you really ask who inspired me, it really was those people that were a little bit closer to me in my life, my family, my teachers, my athlete role models from my region. That's what got me going. And today, there are plenty of vegan athletes who inspire me. Brendan Brazier has been a great role model. Rich Roll, Tim Van Orton, there's a bunch of them really, but they came much later, I would say.
Excellent. Yeah, I know for me, I always found like teachers and people close to me as well. Even the person sitting next to me is a fantastic inspiration. She's the one that I used to debate her about a plant-based diet, and now she kind of like convinced me that I was wrong and I need to make my adjustments.
He actually looked up stuff to argue with me and realized he couldn't argue any points with me. He finally admitted that.
Yeah, I was like, all right, you're right. No but one thing we definitely want to always try to ask is if, and this is a bit of a two-parter this time, First, if you could write a letter to yourself before you went plant-based, what would you say?
Oh man, I've never had that question before. Um, I think I would. I think I would talk a lot about compassion, and I would probably mention some of my animal companions by name, and draw some parallels or similarities to quest for freedom and just a life of fun and pleasure and fear of free of fear, pain, and suffering. And I think I would talk about that. I would talk about giving giving farm animals a second chance, and trust that I could still achieve my fitness goals later on in life while following that same lifestyle. Because when I first adopted a plant-based diet or vegan lifestyle in 1995, that was one of my biggest concerns. I wondered, can I really, I wanted to be a pro wrestler back then, like Hulk Hogan. Can I really achieve that? Can I be this big, strong character on TV? I wasn't sure that I could. And so I guess if I were to write a letter to myself way back when I was 14 or 15, I would let myself know that, hey, you're gonna do a good thing for your animal friends. They may not be able to thank you for it, but it's going to enhance their lives, and you can still become a bodybuilder someday, or a pro wrestler someday, or a champion athlete someday, by following that path. So I think that's what I would tell myself.
And you're also the founder of Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness.
Yeah.
What would you say to yourself when you're first starting on that adventure?
Yeah, I started that in 2002, so I was 22 years old, and I thought it was gonna be pretty big time. I thought I'd sell so many T-shirts and write books and do all this stuff and become this great entrepreneur. Because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur as well, in addition to being a vegan athlete and all the things that I've mentioned, being an author and pro wrestler and all these different things. I really wanted to be an entrepreneur and create stuff. Even when I was a kid, I was making my own board games. I was planning on cultivating my own land, on the farm. I wanted my own little plot so then I could do my stuff and get a return on investment on it. And I used to work on cruise ships, and I left that lifestyle at age 22 or 23 in order to pursue my own business. So I built my own business, Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness, veganbodybuilding.com, in 2002, and I expected great things, and it was a humbling experience for years. Even when I wrote my first book, Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness, I got turned down by every publisher I sent it to. So I eventually self-published, and then I went out on tour, and I ran out of money, and I slept in my car in 9 different states, and I hit rock bottom in my own head until I had a heart-to-heart talk with Gene Bauer. I was actually out at Farm Sanctuary, again sleeping in my car, out in the parking lot, and had a good talk with Gene Bauer and Annie Pio, and decided I would turn my book over to a smaller vegetarian publisher out of Tennessee that was interested in my book, which is what I did. And and then I went back to the drawing board and had to continue to learn, to grow and develop and improve with my own business. So I guess if I had to go back and tell myself a story for the future, would just to be incredibly patient and to be resilient and just to work really, really hard. I've always felt that I spent my 20s working more hours than anybody else I knew. I worked 12 hours a day. I used MySpace as a business platform, for example, back in 2003, and I helped grow my website. And yeah, I produced a documentary way back then, 2005, with Brendan Brazier and Tanya Kay, and I used MySpace to recruit the vegan musicians for the soundtrack and numerous other aspects of that film, and went on to film festivals, and then would later write books, and I still never really made it for a really long time. I mean, it took until basically when this thing came out a year ago, until I started getting offers to speak in Australia and all these other places, and really start making the business work. But what is that? 2002 until 2015. So it was a long road. So I would just tell myself to be patient, work incredibly hard, collaborate with others, don't give up, and follow your passion and do it for the right reasons, make a positive difference in the world, save a lot of lives along the way, and things will likely work out in the end.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
You found your why, and then you found your how. So.
And I'm still discovering it. I'm still discovering what new passions are out there and how I can be more effective and what other causes are even closer to my heart, very specific ones. And I think that's part of the journey, is to continue to ask within and look within and find out what inspires you and moves you and how you can contribute to make a positive difference. So it's an ongoing quest to discover that why.
That's fantastic. And, I definitely see this going on and being more and more successful. Like I said, your second book, Shredded, I grabbed it. I got it. I was engrossed. I'm sitting there going, this is a great book. I recommend it to people. We send it to people. In fact, if I have somebody that's asking me, I will send them a copy and say, just read this. And because I feel it's approachable. I feel that it gets the message out about what we do as far as being plant-based, and in a way that is understandable, that you can be strong, you can accomplish your goals, and you can be compassionate, and you can be healthy. I think that you really rounded it up very well, and by spotlighting people that have done it, it helps people get drive. So
Thank you. I really think those case studies and transformation stories are a big part of the book. It's not just me and my ideas and my programs, but it is highlighting all those successful plant-based athletes and all those various chefs and cookbook authors that contributed greatly to the meal plans and to the recipes. Mm-hmm. It's all of that collaboration that I think shows that it's practical, it's accessible, it's beneficial, and it's adaptable, and it's for anybody. And so I'm really excited. And Shredded's done really, really well. I mean, it outsold, I think, 75% of all other books printed in the U.S. last year, according to some statistics that I read. So it's I feel pretty good about that.
Awesome.
Allows me,
fantastic.
Yeah, it allows me to travel essentially every week. I leave in like I leave tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, I go. I leave again. I just got back from the cruise, and even before the cruise, I was in Colorado, Arizona, Oregon, and Canada in 4 consecutive days. Then back to Colorado, then over to Florida for the cruise. Now I'm back, and I'm off to Nevada and Arizona next week, and then off to Southeast Asia for a bit. So a lot of travel is coming up.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Curiously Veg is pretty new, and we're here because we want to kind of bridge the gap between vegans, non-vegans, and we want to show, highlight people like you and the things that you do, and like, the farm sanctuary, and even some of the local people that we have, some fighters that we have, to kind of give that message that's easy to understand and promote those who are out doing the good work, those who found their why. And now your why can give other people their why and their how. But I do think that, your book is excellent, and congratulations on the success. I'm very glad that it's successful.
Thanks, Hope. I appreciate it.
Rob, that was I think one thing I was talking to Robert afterwards. He was like, I think we need to put some church music in at times, because he was preaching. I wanted to stop and kind of go.
Well, when I first started getting into, like I told him, fitness and looking to be a trainer, he was one of the people that was like my go-to. I found the Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness. I actually got his first book and read through it, and just kind of realized, because when you go into these programs, you feel kind of alone when you're a vegan health person, especially going in the world of training where everything is protein, everything is meat, kind of like promoting your fart sandwiches, which you used to do in the gym. Would you care to tell everybody what your fart sandwiches are?
And you keep calling on that. Okay.
Because they are.
Okay, so again, this was 6 years ago, maybe longer than that. It was
It was horrible. Feel sorry for me.
It was egg and peanut butter and whole wheat. And again, I honestly, it's although now I do tofu scramble with peanut butter. I still do tofu scramble with peanut butter, but tofu and peanut butter go together, so it's okay.
Yeah, but those sandwiches,
they were bad.
Everything about them was bad.
They were bad.
Mm-mm. No, and I was vegan then.
Yeah.
And then I had to put up the ramifications of your eating them.
How did we get on this topic from Robert? I don't even.
Because I was talking about how, being in the training world where everything's, it's like that. You think, what can I do to get the most protein? And here I am, and I was, granted I'd been vegan for years, but I've really not gone into the hows and whys of fitness.
Right.
And applying what I knew to fitness and bodybuilding. So I really had a long way to learn, and when I'm learning and you're getting, because ACE is fantastic as far as certification goes, and they teach you a lot, but you're still going by the recommendations that we always know of. You need a lot more protein, you got to up this, meat and dairy's good, and especially when they're like, oh, the best thing for recovery is chocolate milk. And when I was the lone voice of going, not really, because that's acid forming, and it was hard. But to find somebody like Robert out there who was doing this and was breaking it down the hows and whys, and then showing other people that was doing it, it really kind of spurred me on to continue to follow that track and get my trainer's license and do it. I don't train much anymore, but I keep that because I feel like I think my place now is to educate and write more about what we do in that than it is to actually train people, because I think we need sounding boards of telling trainers you're not alone, and Robert was really important with helping me with that. And when it came out with Shredded, I pre-ordered it and waited to get I don't normally dog ear book because I'm a book nerd, but as you can see, I actually stopped putting tabs in and just said, I'm just going to dog ear it on these things, but sending it to people, but it kind of reflected what I already knew, and seeing it written in an easy to follow book was fantastic.
Well, not only that, especially if you're already knowledgeable and you have the information available to you, just from learning, getting a book that, and with someone like Robert who's been doing it for he went vegan at 15, and he did vegan bodybuilding and fitness. They started that in 2002. Mm-hmm. So it's almost 14 years ago. Math. 14 years
it's probably
ago?
been as long as I've been vegan.
Right. So with someone with his knowledge, and you have a book, and it kind of not only solidifies what you're already doing. It's like, okay, well, how should my calories? How should I ration this? How should count these calories and this type of workout? And getting a book that has information in it that can solidify what you already know, and then build on it, which both of these do. Mm-hmm. It's hard. I'm trying to how to put it. It's hard to it's invaluable, I think, is what I'm going with. And I do that. I go to web conferences for doing web development, and some of the talks I go to is just me going, that's how I do it. That's awesome. And here's the next step that I didn't know I could do. So it's solidifying that I'm doing something that's right, and moving on. And some talks, again, especially Shredded, he talked about, kind of hits everyone. It can lead to something you've never even thought of before, especially with the diet and calorie counting. And he talked about figuring out your metabolic rates and the calorie requirements. Something most people don't do. They just think, I'll eat till I'm full and that's it. And like, you could be overdoing it. But Robert said, people, 400,000 extra calories a year, and that's what's killing you. Mm-hmm.
Or not enough, and they're wondering why they're conking out in the gym because you're not.
Yeah, me, I ate once today, and I know. And as he was talking about, I'm like, I'm sorry.
We'll go get you some bananas.
Yeah,
that was a revelation to Matt. Matt's like, I can eat bananas, because that's the comment. Like when we work out, I keep saying, it's like, I'm starving. I'm going, we only have 2 more sets. I'm starving. So now we have bananas.
Yeah. That's I get some of these like little chocolate like energy bites, stuff like that. And I
just
eat
like
those.
chocolate.
Who doesn't like chocolate?
I don't know if I trust somebody that didn't like chocolate.
Of course, now people who are listening to are allergic to chocolate are probably
he's allergic to chocolate.
Right
That's why we could always say, hey, it's real chocolate. He'll eat it and he sneezes.
But people allergic to chocolate can do carob though, right? Usually.
Yeah, they can. Well, yeah, I can't because it's made from corn.
Oh, I can. That's delicious.
But the one thing
anyway,
going back to it, his first book was really
derailing.
It really we always do.
Right.
But the first book was kind of centered around his journey, which was very interesting to see. It's like I told him, he kind of mirrored a little bit with Dr. Campbell as far as having a background of being in a farm. The second book is a little bit more about that, but he kind of goes in more about the exercise part of it. But what I liked about the book, it was the stories of the other people that do this professionally or, not
Right.
professionally, but it shows success stories to say, this isn't just a fluke. This isn't just a handful of people. We're seeing, especially on vegan bodybuilding and fitness. I'm looking at it right now. You can go there and there's different profiles. They actually have an article section which has a whole just getting started section for anybody that's like, I don't know what to do.
Well, it's like he was talking about find your why and finding the find your
Your
why.
why.
And it all ties into that of like,
and I'm like, are you speaking to me because I don't know where my why is?
Right. Yeah. It's to me, the gym and exercise, especially lifting and things like that in general, is a fantastic guide for life. So I think it's finding your why, whether that, like Robert said, learning a language or a new skill or anything like that, writing a book, going to the gym, like starting businesses, stuff like that, is that you're going to have the road bumps, you're going to have things that are going to drag you down and make you not want to do something anymore. And finding your why, like, why am I doing this? What's motivating me? Is it to feel better? Is it to spread a message? Is it so I can take a trip to Japan, or I want to get a job in another country? And find your why, something that motivates you to push you to the next one, and realize that you're having a tough time, or you need to get started, and letting that push you to the next level.
That's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of journaling, even though I don't really practice what I preach. I try to.
I'm a big fan of gerbiling. So you get a gerbil and just hold.
I was about to say, where are you going with that?
It's not the tube. It's like you hold in your hand.
Obviously, you're not a child from the. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about, yeah.
Okay, Richard Gere.
That's what I was saying. Is Richard Gere?
Yeah.
And we just turned this from non-explicit to explicit. So
it's not explicit.
It's implied, I guess. So it's okay. What do you guys think? Should I mark this explicit? And let me know in the comments what should I have done. Okay. I'm trying to interact with the people. Okay, so
everybody on the radio show is like, what is he doing?
So you're a big fan of journaling?
Yeah, because I think that can help you find your why. Because if you start writing, even if it's writing down your emotions, even if you're having a really crappy day, if you kind of write that down and then you remind yourself of your why, it can motivate you. I mean, I don't think there's a perfectionism. I think especially when you start your journey, it's not going to be perfect. You may not make it to the gym every day because it may be like you and me. It's like I feel like utter crap.
Well, for me, it's like it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I had to work late. Maybe I was stay late to get the show up on a Monday night, something like that. And it's like it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. By the time I do this, go home, eat dinner, I can't do this.
Yeah, so it's learning. It's learning to be consistent, and that's one thing that I liked what Robert said in the interview is consistency. So it's about developing your consistency and understanding. It's just like with veganism. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to work at being consistent in something. Even if you're starting off and you're saying, I can work out 2 times a week. Okay, well that's better than no times a week.
Right.
So you find your why, and then really try to get your goal for at least doing something 2 times a week, and then develop it, because the better you feel, it's just like veganism, the better you feel, the more you're going to be towards it.
Right.
And the journalism, as far as with food, even if, because a lot of people get really intimidated, and I agree with him 100% that if you're going for an explicit goal, or you really don't know your intake, it's kind of good to figure it out. But I've noticed that does paralyze some people. So what I generally say is keep a food journal.
Right.
And just be mindful of what you're eating. I told one that even if you grab 3 M&Ms and you pop them in your mouth, write that down. And then write down how you felt like before. Why were you craving that? Were you bored? What were you doing? And then write how you felt afterwards. Because when you'll start to see a pattern, and you can do that with your journaling, with your working out, with finding your whys, you're going to see a pattern of why you do certain behavior or what your motivators are. So the motivators are kind of like find your why. What's
interesting at that is it's just interesting to do that for almost anything. So if for work, when you get to work, how did I feel when I got this morning on my way to work? What was my day like, and how did I feel after? And it kind of also helps guide you. Like I said, exercise and health in the gym to me is an allegory for everything. Yep. What happens at work carries to the gym. What happens to the gym carries through your life. Journaling, whether I got this morning, I was sluggish, I was tired, I had a boring day at work, and I was in a bad mood when I left. And finding those patterns and adjusting those patterns. And adjusting those patterns will help you find those goals and reach those goals and keep moving forward. And you find those negative patterns are kind of pulling you down in a way.
It's kind of like us, because when we found the gym we used to go to, that motivated both of us because we both.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of like, because we were joking, like, this is our church. You know, it was our family there. I looked forward to going because the classes, the kickboxing, the boxing. You worked hard because it wasn't just you. And we really not only found our why, but our how and our motivators. When all of that changed, I know both of us were we both derailed. Big
you feel
time.
lost.
Yeah, because we had everything figured out and planned it out and enjoyed it, and then that was taken out. But then we had to take it and figure out, okay, from here now, because everybody's going to have upheavals in life.
Right.
You do. I mean, I've had major upheaval that has just, I've got to rewrite my why and do this. But I think when you journal, even when you have these major upheavals, we didn't, but I wish we had it can help you really reframe what you're going through and adjust to figure out, why are you craving things? Why are you not motivated to go work out? Why are you not running? What is your goal? What is your why again? So you can kind of look back and see and take that and transform it into the now, because everything's transformative. Nothing's fixed.
Well, you talk about our
and I'm sorry,
church.
I'm horse, guys. So.
Yeah. And I'm pony.
Oh.
Actually, I'm an ass. Ah. Okay, so I'm doing dance. I can't walk. Anyway,
even Kyle groaned at that.
He should have. Yeah. So you talk about our church. I used to sit and I used to do I still get back into Muay Thai and boxing and stuff like that. And I would sit down on a bench and wrap my hands and just sit and listen to people doing bag work and people lifting weights, because it was like music to me. Mm-hmm. But you talk about find your why. I think it's also important to find your where.
Mm-hmm. Your who.
And your who and your where. And for the where, I want you to speak to the who. But for the where piece, I have a place in my house that's my office. It has my turntables and speakers and some fun stuff, and like toys and like posters and stuff. But it's my office, and I know when I'm in there, I have that time to get done mentality, get stuff done. Whether I'm sitting there for an hour or whether I'm sitting there for 10, which I've done before. Especially the stuff we're working on now. I am pining and trying to fine tune everything. And having your where. So if you have finding your where, finding your gym that you're comfortable in, even if it's an in-home gym, have a space. Don't make it next to your bed, because then you're going to sit down and turn the tube.
It depends on if that's all the space you have.
That's all the space you have. That's one thing.
And
again,
if you can roll out of bed and do that, then go for it.
Right. If you roll out of bed and do push-ups like Batman, that's fantastic. But if you have a space in like a garage, or if you have an office and do half of it has a kettlebell and some
like mine,
like yours.
Yeah.
But you have that space where you can do yoga and stretching and have a where like when I'm in this space.
Unless you've got 4 cats, then
there's nowhere to where. But finding that space where this is where I get things done. Whether I have an office, that's where I get office. That's my work done. When it comes to gym, when I go to the gym I'm there to get this done. Everything else is over here. I'm here to get things done. Yeah. And it's entertainment. Go to movie theater. It's getting in that mentality of I have my where, and that's where this thing's going to happen. Now you said find your who. What do you mean by find your who?
Well, it's not only about finding your tribe, finding people, because if you run, you get with runners. But I think especially we'll go in. We can go on, because you said you wanted to interview about what goes on with us at some point in time. But
absolutely.
I've had a major life upheaval to where I've just been paralyzed. And we talked to Sonny, and Sonny, I'm kind of in the same place as Sonny as I'm telling everybody, leave me alone, no way.
Which was amazing. So
but then I'm in the corner going, why didn't anybody call me? I'm at that point, but I'm at the point where I have a physical injury. And right. I can't work out. I'm going tomorrow to get the bad news. Well, I have to take the teddy bear and ask the doctor to show me on the bear where I'm broken and figure out what I forgot to put the cats to work to pay for it. But it really derailed me from everything I did. And I've had a lot of friends be positive just when you always go on Facebook and you always have to put the crappy rant, because I do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to, because it really doesn't even have a personal diary.
Although I do appreciate you going, like, when you went there, you said what was going on, but you didn't really bad day.
I wasn't vague. No, I wasn't vague booking.
I hate the vague ones.
But I have to say that the surprising thing is, my friend Warren, he's freaking getting ready for a fight that he hasn't done, but he actually took the time to say, just what Robert did is, let's have some time to talk and figure out what we can do to get you back. And that really meant a lot. I mean, I love my friends and I appreciate all the support and the positive messages, but to have somebody to take his time out and say, basically get off your ass and come and talk to me, and we'll figure it out. And
Right.
Warren, I promise I'll get back to you, and we will. Just do your fighting. Don't worry about me. But it made me feel that I have a who here that came out of nowhere. I have you and Matt, but it's different because you two are close to me. So you're
Right.
used to my whininess and having to kick my butt back into space when I get down. But
Right.
when you have somebody who when we went to our temple to work out with, and has become a friend of ours, just be able to, because he's been through crap and back, to say, hey, let's get you back, like, because I feel like he's kind of saying, let's figure out what your why is again and let me help you do it. So find somebody that's like that. I mean, it can be from unexpected places. It may be you're going to school and one of your teachers may talk to you and say, hey, what's going on? Can we figure it out? And that might motivate you to, make some changes, make some adjustments to your why. Adjust your why.
Well, and your who could be anywhere. Who could be online. It could be, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. It doesn't have to
Or
be
vague
someone
book.
Or your vague book.
I'm having a bad day.
The thing's important if you find someone you can talk to, and it's like, like we both know that you had coffee with Warren today. We had a great conversation. Awesome. Neither of us are offended. You would talk to someone else about issues. If that helps.
Oh, you'll pout, but
I pout, but I'm always pouting. So for the camera. But
I'm so sorry, guys.
But my mustache is looking pretty good today, though. But
you're on fleek. Am I allowed to say that?
No, I don't think
No?
I think you've passed. I think your generation.
No,
Anyway, but your who can be. Sorry.
I think my hair's on fleek today.
Your hair is fantastic. It's looking all curly. But who can be online? It could be someone you know. It could be a teacher, someone you work out with. And the thing is, if you find that person, it's so important, or somebody else finds a who they can just talk to and just kind of de-stress. Don't take offense to that. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay for you to talk to someone else. It makes you feel better.
Or even like Robert Cheeke said, when you connect with him on his veganbodybuilding.com, they have their social, and there's communities there. So if you feel like you need to find a tribe or a who, you can always go on there and ask questions, or on Curiously Veg, because we always answer questions. Or there's a lot of people that like to talk about their journeys as well.
Right.
And you and I are both kind of open book about our journeys that we've had, and it's something that I've been asked to go more in depth about. And I know with you, there's a lot of things that brought you to this point.
Absolutely. And we're open to be someone's mentor if you're new to it, or you're having a hard time, or the family and friends don't understand. CuriouslyVegRadio.com, contact, and send you some message on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere is fine.
Like I said, I give great advice. I'm just horrible at following it, and I think both of you can agree with that. You're the same way.
Oh, I know. I'm terrible at it, and it's Robert. One thing I love about Robert's kind of changing a little bit was the food portion, which is probably the biggest piece of our diet, and finding the calories, which, like I said, I under caloried today, so doing a back workout would be interesting. I have like peanut butter and bananas and stuff in the car. Hey, bananas. So I'll probably eat bananas. I'll eat that probably on the way there. And
those bananas.
At that, and I find, because I work out late sometimes. I'll go by the gym 9:30 at night, something like that. Like, I got to get a workout in. Crap day. I need to zone out, and I leave, and I didn't have time to go by the store. And so, I think the biggest thing people have is getting calories, getting the food in. And
getting quality calories, especially when you work, because
Well, that's the thing about, and I think there's what's really interesting is you can go to Kroger, especially Kroger and things like that, and smaller stores that have kind of things that are really easy, like the Foodies burgers.
Oh, those are so good.
That sometimes they have the tandoori spice, which is really good.
Mm-hmm. Which one did you get the other night?
I got the French herb.
That was
which
good.
is good. We had a little bit of day cheese.
That's
on
like
it.
the two sponsors. I had that with.
Pure
abundance
abundance
cheese on that, and heated that up.
I should have tried yours. That looked pretty good.
Oh, it was good.
I had I put some mozzarella day cheese on it.
I need to fix it like they were when we found them at Veg.
They had a sauce. I don't know what the sauce was.
That was the whole package. They had the pretzel buns, which I think that's part of it. It's me hitting my thing. But that's where we met them, because you know me, I'm very picky about even with the quote unquote healthy, and I know I'm using the quotes wrong, I'm sorry, but in this context, quote unquote healthy quick foods. Right. We've seen stuff that's been poised as healthy. Like Matt brought some frozen burger home. He was all proud of it. Go, look what I found. I found these burgers. I turned, I was like, yeah, no, we're not eating that. And he's like, why? I was like, well, let me break this down for what this is. You know,
Exactly.
This is this, and this is, and I'm saying, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if that's all you have, and that's kind of it's not a steady thing.
Right.
But I remember when we talked to foodies, we started looking at it, and we're like, yeah.
Well, the cool thing about there is I pulled up their ingredients. It's brown rice, water, cashews, artichokes, which if I'm not a fan of artichokes, and I still love these. So if you're having an artichoke problem, you shouldn't have a problem with these. Olive oil, apple cider vinegar, potato flour, nutritional yeast, a little bit of sugar, tapioca starch, spices, and
What
salt.
was that again? Tapioca?
Tapioca starch.
Tapioca starch.
Good one, Matt.
But salt and spices. So that's the thing about it is most of them, like you go, even the Satan burgers, they have a bunch of they have like 900 ingredients. I'm like, I can't pronounce half these. I can't. I know I can recognize everything.
It's whole food.
That's the main thing. It's whole food, no GMO. There's no MSG, no added preservatives. The box, you got 3 in a box, and I think it's cool because they have. I know they have sloppy joes. We gotta try the sloppy joes.
Yeah, I mean everything we've had because I think with Veg Fest we always get him Dave more than me.
I eat everything.
He comes around and he's got food.
I'm powerlifting now. I have to eat more.
Oh yeah, that can only go so far. Yeah, Robert, you can call him on that one.
Hey! Look, all right, my dumbbell bench.
K is for horses.
My dumbbell bench is at
90 pounds.
Dun, dun, da, 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 da.
I'm chasing a 225 on bench. Anyway, go ahead.
Why is it running from you?
Cause it's scared of me. Cause I'm hulking up. Anyway, go ahead. So, but yeah, the tandoori spice was really good.
Yeah, we tried every one of them that they had here. And,
yeah, and the point I'm making is you can get something like the.
Why do you look
burgers.
so disturbed, Matt? That's Sloppy Joe. Matt is really hungry over here.
Don't drill my board, man. I don't want to get. No, but again, my whole thing is like. I tend to work out late because I work late a lot because I get to work. I get to work late, so I work late, leave late, work out late, eat late.
You never stop working.
I know.
Let's just face facts
Man,
here. This is why we have the
CV,
show and
baby.
everything. Because you always. I get a text from you and I'm like, I'm in bed. I get up the next morning here, ding.
Like, you up? Like, it's midnight. No.
Or I got what it like 3
I'm
o'clock
actually
in the morning.
working on our magazine
I got
stuff.
what going. Hey. You up? Are you still up? I got more.
God, there's something exciting in our site. So
I always go. I am now.
Mm-hmm. So, but I think the point I was getting at is if you're like me, calories is hard to get in because I tend to get busy at work and I forget, or I get to the gym late and I'm like, that's late. What I'm going to eat? I don't want to, eat something too heavy. It's not heavy, like something like the Foodies burgers, tomato, spinach, everything, a little bit of vegan mayo and some vegan cheese. It's fantastic. It's easy to make. It's low cost. And it helps me out, especially on late nights where I just need something quick. And I don't want to spend an hour in the kitchen cooking.
And it's not
big.
junk.
Precisely.
It's not junk. We find the thing I like about Foodies is because you can find them in Kroger and places like that.
Yeah.
Usually you're stuck with like I'm gonna say, what should I say? Gorning Star Harms. The crap.
Oh, yeah.
I don't because I don't want to get sued. But the Foca burgers, the things like that. You look at it and you're going, what is I don't even. And you're looking up online and Google's going, I have no idea. You stumped me on this, try. Is it spelled this way? But
right.
I appreciate not only the convenience, but it tastes really good, which is usually something that you sacrifice with convenience, but it's whole foods. And,
right. Absolutely. If you have problems finding Foodies, if you go to their website, 5starfoodies.com, you can look at their stuff. There's a little find us section,
mm-hmm.
and you can always get in touch with them and kind of they have their address or email. Get in touch with them. Maybe demand it in your area if you don't have it.
I know where you can find them in my fridge because I got
my belly.
got some boxes over bed right now.
So that's the thing about Robert. I talked about too about getting he talked about more about watching his calories and that and stuff like that will help. That's the big thing I really need to take from it is eat. So
eat real food. Eat yummy real food.
Yay. So.
But another thing with Foodies, I don't want to beat a dead tofu horse. God, that's a horrible vision.
Giant horse made of tofu.
But the
smacking noise would be so weird.
We've lost Dave. We've lost him. He's gone.
Anyway. I got Matt to laugh at this.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, dude.
Creamy milk water goes everywhere.
Okay, we are gonna have to change our radio.
Okay, wait,
Creamy milk water goes everywhere.
Oh, no, add an effect for that. Add an effect.
Creamy milk water.
This is what happens when we record late, ladies.
yes.
Yep. Getting back to one of the reasons why I like companies like this is it's just like anybody that we promote. When we met them at Veg Fest, they honestly not only believed in their product and what they were doing and were very compassionate, but they were some of the nicest people that I had ever met. And they made sure to take the time to talk to everybody about their product. And they were very grateful. I mean, everybody that came up and got something, they were very grateful and enthusiastic to get feedback. And it was honest feedback. I don't think I had one person go, this is horrible. Everybody was like, this is one of the best burgers I've ever had.
Right.
Yeah. It's you got good people, good product, good price, good locations, and full of good stuff, and not cream. What'd you call it? Creamy.
Okay.
What'd you call it? Go.
Creamy milk water.
That's me, my nightmares. But so.
It's gonna be in everybody's night.
So one thing I would love to hear from everyone out there in YouTube land. Is what did you get from Robert's interview? What did we talked to him about?
And what is your why?
What is your why?
We're going to put it on Facebook. We want you guys to tell us what is your why. And think about it. If you don't have a why, just start developing it now. Let us know and do hashtag find your why.
Yeah, and tell us.
See, I did something cool.
Look at you.
I'm cool. I'm hip. I'm there. Hashtag find your why.
That's it. Tell us. Whether it's getting into the gym and getting things done, or if it's it's like a passion you have.
Live longer for your cats.
Live longer for your cats. If it's a passion you have, like we have with Curiously Veg and all the things that we're doing with it. What is your why and what you're working on in your life?
Mm-hmm. Find your why.
That felt very NPR. Find your why. But
you're just happy because your mustachio is on fleek.
It's awesome.
See, I'm just trying to sound cool now.
Fantastic.
It's really not working with me. I'm a 42-year-old woman that said fleek.
I think it's because you go fleek. Yeah. It's go fleek. Yeah, fleek. You put a little on it, fleek. And hit on fleek. See, put a little fleek. Yeah, put a little.
I'm just
little
not
dip
cool.
in there, a little fleek.
I'm just not cool.
All right.
I'm just gonna.
I'm still millennial, so I can use those words.
I'm gonna take what Sonny says because I'm rad. Like that, everything's rad.
I was at Veg Fest and somebody asked a gentleman I was. They asked him like, "How you doing, sir?" And he went, "Historic." I'm like, I like that.
That's very nice.
How you feel?
Historic. How was this interview? It was historic.
And how are these books?
They are historical. Dun dun dun. You're good. This is good. Wow.
This is getting off the rails, but like I said, you see the books. I'll try to put a little annotation here that to our show notes on the book, so you can get so you have a link to actually go grab those.
Mm-hmm. And if you're starting out, really, Shred It's a good place to start. It's one that I would recommend because it is an easy read. It's easy to understand. He gives you tools on vegan bodybuilding, like he was talking about how to calculate your caloric intake and things like that. He's got tools, and there's a bookmark in there. Maybe bookmarking something. Bookmarks.
You see, there's recipes and things like that. So as he said, he got with a lot of highly qualified. Not that Robert's not highly qualified. Robert with Dr. T. Colin Campbell and Rip Asselson and Rich, all those guys,
heroes,
all of our heroes. They're backing it. They loved it. They're supporting him on it. And if those guys, alone don't show you the breadth of the tome.
Well, you know me. I'm such a nerd that I'm a stickler for looking for information that is realistic, that's been tested and true. Not just because we see it all the time, cherry-picked information. We see, I got into this. I really try. I do my best not to get into confrontations on Facebook because honestly, I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook. I mostly hate it. But I had somebody doing such an asinine statement about. I'm not even going to say who it was, but had pulled this. It was an article on some magazine, a really obscure thing that was just ridiculous. The write-up made no sense, and you could tell that the author of that article was pulling just things from everywhere. And the only thing, if she had read, I doubt she even read the abstract. She looked like she had read something of somebody who read the abstract, or maybe she read something of somebody who read something of somebody that read the abstract of it. So I kind of called him out on it. And I was trying to explain this is not accurate science. You have to learn to look where your research came from and to be objective about it.
Well, I saw that. You have to actually read the thing too.
Yeah, and so what they're saying in the article and even what the abstract had said doesn't coincide. It made no sense. And I don't know if I was just particularly irritable and cranky that day, but I was particularly irritable and cranky that day, and I kept on.
Was it?
Huh?
Was it the same article about that one guy had posted? Was that the same article?
I don't know.
The guy had posted about sorry, you don't live, don't really live that much longer.
I think so. Yeah, okay. I think it was kind of built off that, but and I even tried. I was like, I've said my 2 cents worth. I'm just here to say when you're looking at this, I said what I have a problem with is this is a site that puts it out as you're a nutrition science site, right? So when you're putting things out and not everybody understands how to interpret studies, and nobody. That's not everybody's forte. I mean, I don't particularly like sitting and reading. So, and I told him, so I'm not
5T.
There you go. It's my 5T. But I told him, so I'm not going to go buy this article because it's expensive, because it doesn't really pertain. I already know about this, or this study. But I said, just as a caution to you, I'm telling you the fallacies. These fallacies of what I'm seeing written in this article that's put out as fact, and you're going to have a lot of people that see the site as reputable, read this and automatically think this is true because they're not getting all of the information, instead of maybe going somewhere else that is actually fact checked and is grounded in solid information and solid research that can give them the accurate information, because the stuff that's put out there is just blatantly dangerous.
Right, and that's what you get with Robert in his books. Is it's not only is it researched, but it's also put into practice.
Yeah.
He doesn't
puts his
say,
money where his mouth is.
Exactly. I think this will work. No, he actually puts these down because they work, and they're fundamental to the building blocks of building and getting healthy.
And I will say his first book is more geared towards bodybuilding, where Shredded is more geared towards everybody, because you can apply the knowledge that he's put in there to whether you just want to get fit, if you're just getting started getting fit. Especially getting started if you're just, say you're just starting to be plant-based and you also want to work out, it's a good resource to have as well.
So this is more like a sniper, like a single shot, dead on. Where this is more like almost like a shotgun, a spray, where it has kind of hits a little bit of everything. You think?
I guess you could go with that analogy.
Got a good spread. For those Bill Burr fans,
yeah. I mean, this is more. I mean, you would probably. I know I gave you this one. I don't know if you've read all through it.
I've read through it. I think you took it back.
But like you're wanting to you're wanting to do more powerlifting,
right?
This would apply to you, whereas somebody that says I'm wanting to get fit, I don't know where to start. Or somebody that's experienced in it, say you didn't want to, you weren't looking into bodybuilding or to powerlifting, and you wanted to apply principles better to your workouts, it's a good resource.
Well, even then, if you're doing powerlifting, if you're trying to do basically a lot of heavier lifting, you have to do a little bit of the bodybuilding workouts to actually work those secondary and those supportive muscles.
And your nutrition is going to be completely different.
Absolutely. So like me, I'm when you're doing powerlifting, you have your big three. You have your deadlift, which is typically done on a back day. You have squat, which you typically do on a leg day. You have benches on your upper body. Right, so when you're doing a back exercise, you do your deadlifts, and then you'll go and you'll do various of deadlifts. You'll do hyperextensions, pull downs, because you're gonna do a high rep range on those secondary, because they're gonna help you with that bigger lift. When I'm doing a bench press, one day I do bench press twice a week, and I'm doing first day is mainly focused on triceps and different parts of the shoulder. The next one is bench, and it's biceps and parts of the shoulder, because your shoulders and your biceps and your triceps are assist in lifting that heavier weight. So even using bodybuilding, like in Robert's book here, with that, and using the this to kind of get a good base, and also with the diet portion of it here helps. And I probably need to get these from you again.
they go hand in hand. You see, you go at my room.
You got a wall of knowledge.
It's fallen out of my library has gone into my office now, but it's always good to have good, solid, reliable information. So the stuff, I feel very comfortable promoting Robert's book, and because like I said, he's been kind of a mentor to me in what I've done, and
right.
I think that I'm glad that he's doing more and more, because I think his message is pretty solid for everybody. It's kind of, he's not a doctor, so you don't have to go, well, you're a doctor, you know.
It's from the heart.
He lives it, he knows it, he studies it, he applies it to his life. So it's more of he's walking his walk, and people like that are very important. They're very valued.
Right, and we asked him the what would you say to yourself when you first started? And I don't want to dive into that.
I think we stumped him with that.
I don't want to dive in because he was one of those things where it's like he talked about compassion and he got really deep, and I was like, okay, whoa. Because it's like really, really, I spoke to it, and I'll leave that for everyone who watch and listen to. Again, we want to know, what would you have said to yourself? Pointing at the camera, what would you say to yourself when you first started?
We have created a monster with this camera.
If you're new, that's fun. If you're new, if you're new, if you're thinking about starting, what do you think your future self would say to you now if you're just now getting started? I want to know that. So in the comments, I want to read some of those comments.
Actually, a good thing to do.
If there's any good comments, we'll talk about it.
I would like to challenge everybody out there, if you're just starting out your plant-based journey. I'm not saying if you're vegan or vegetarian, but if you're starting out with the plant-based journey,
we're thinking about
healthy.
Yeah.
Write a letter to yourself and put an envelope of why you've decided to make the change. What were your motivators, and what do you feel are the roadblocks that you're seeing? And then in a year's time, open that letter up and then write another letter. And you'll start to see how you change. It's also following the why, but that way when you say, well, what letter would you write to yourself, you can look back on those letters and say, well, here's what stood out to me during that journey. So the most important thing I would say to myself then is this. So that may help be a good motivator. I wish I had done that. Like when I first started this, why particularly, what was my aha moment? Because I have different aha moments. I think mine happened kind of in steps, but primarily family motivators. But I think if I had written those down and then a year later opened that up and kind of written another note and kind of seen how I handled that and wrote a note back then, I think it'd be pretty interesting. So I'd like to challenge you guys to write yourself a letter right now of what you're going through, and if you found your why, what is your why?
Who's your why?
Who's your who?
Who's your who? Where's your where?
Where's your where? Who's your who? Why's your why?
Ta-da. So on that, we've definitely have exhausted time. Thank you for everyone who has actually stayed with us through this almost 2 hours worth of interview. I
think Matt's melting.
I think I hear his stomach from here, even with the headphones on. So if again, I hope you have any closing Robert Cheeke remarks. You think that? No. Okay. So
I don't even what.
I don't know. It's late. I'm tired. I need to go to the gym. But
you get your calories up if you go to the gym.
Yeah, right. I got peanut butter and stuff and bananas.
So
but
basically, guys,
subscribe to the show, CuriouslyVegRadio.com. Subscribe. I'll put it above my head.
Send it to your friends. Have
share
them
this,
subscribe.
Hit the share. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We don't have that many. We have a few. So subscribe to it. We're gonna put this. We're gonna have videos come out every time we have an episode. Put a video out, and we're working on some ideas of what else to put in the channel. If you have some suggestions, things you would like us to talk about, videos, vlog type stuff, let us know. We're coming up with the ideas, something that you people would really like. You people would really like to have on the YouTube channel.
I'm gonna volunteer you for something.
Oh, what do I have to do now?
We get 500 likes on YouTube, so you got to send your friends out.
500 thumbs up.
500
in general, or just this video?
No, likes on our
subscribers.
Subscribers.
Okay,
500 subscribers. We will put Dave in a Deadpool outfit, and he will dance around to "If You Want My Body and You Think I'm Sexy." Matt's all in. I see you looking. So 500.
We'll have to talk after the show.
No, we're gonna do it. 500 subscribers. Deadpool. If you want my body, it'll be great.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So he started red.
Why
It was bad. Look at
Why
the
not?
Look
We'll have to. Yeah, I'm turning red. We'll have to.
Oh no, we won't put you in Deadpool outfit. I bet you they have underoos.
Well, I'm not. No, no, that we're not doing. That we're not doing. If we have a Deadpool onesie, I'm down.
Oh, okay. Sure. All right. Well, Deadpool onesie or an outfit to "If You Want My Body." Okay, so you got to share.
500 subscribers. When we hit 500 subscribers, I will buy a Deadpool onesie or some sort of outfit, and I will dance to "If You Think I'm Sexy" as Deadpool. So.
I don't know if that scared people away. Or
it probably will at 500. So
on that, guys, Keep getting your veggies on and stay curiously veg.
All right.
All right, do it. Take us out, guy.
Bye, guys.
Will I remember? I remember, don't worry. I can see it coming in the air tonight. Hold on. Dave can't sing on key, he's always flat.